Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream Park. I'm welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Brian Nato. Really nice day here in South Florida. We got a fast main track, firm turf course this afternoon. We're on the all-weather Tapeta, and it should be a pretty nice day of racing with the 9 on tap.
Yeah, looking forward to it. You saw it there, a beautiful day, and kudos to the grounds crew and everybody for getting that main track fast. We had some rains, and the turf is firm, so ready to roll today on a 9-race card, and a lot to look forward to, and we start anew in the Rainbow Six as well.
Yeah, someone got it yesterday for $182,000. Had that single in the last race that just went wire to wire with Chantal Sutherland. So we're starting anew. $50,000 is the gross jackpot guarantee. It's going to kick off in race number 4 this afternoon. Races 4 through 9, but that's a little down the road. First race today is going to be on the main track. But more importantly, Brian put a ticket together, early pick 5 ticket together.
Take a look at it. The early one is just $12 with my best bet of the day in race 1, and in that is number 9, 12 o'clock. In race 2, we go 2 deep. 7-3 is the order with Tolferis on top. The biggest spread is in race 3. Couple of Pletcher runners in there, but I went with King of Chaos, and then 2x1 double to end it. Number 7, Sensational Grace, and number 6, Lanikia Storm. We got a replay of Sensational Grace coming up, and then the single to get out is number 7, Tune In, who I think is in a really, really good spot for Diane Marici.
Yeah, the international single today on both the early and late pick 5 and everything else. Horse is really nice. Loves running here at a 1-turn mile. First race this afternoon is a 1-mile maiden claim at 3-year-olds, $12,500. Nice field of 9, no scratches, jockey changes, and as Brian alluded to, the number 9, 12 o'clock is his best bet. My top selection. Drop it to the 12.5 level after a pair of slow starting sprints. We're actually going to go back and show you the one back on April 16th. We're going to show you both views of the start here. First, the head-on, you're going to see number 9 that day, and you're just going to see this horse gets the old, squeeze play action there. And I just thought that was enough to compromise this horse. And here it is on the start, just to see where this horse ends up, back behind it. And also broke slow, you have to remember, in its first start. So the red-hot trainer Fausto Gutierrez has Paco Lopez trying to get this Son of Midnight Loot. Got to break sharply, and I think the dance will be over.
Yeah, and I think with Paco named today, there's some intent to start breaking better. We got to get in the game a little earlier here, and now Paco's aboard. We're in the perfect outside post for him, and this is my best bet of the day, favored right now, and I don't think it's a big surprise around this horse is going to take a lot of money because we'll talk about a few others in this field, certainly Summer Ash, the 5 and the 3 as well, but not a lot of them have the upside. I think that 12 o'clock does. It might be better already, to be honest.
Yeah, it's dropping to the 12.5 level too, so that's also got to be factored in. Talking about that number 5 Summer Ash, this one from Claudio Gonzalez. Hector Berrios will be in the saddle today.
Yeah, 0 for 11. He is what he is, this gelded son of Frost, and he's run some okay races, and his form has kind of peaked a little bit. I will say this, he's dropping back on the dirt in his races in Maryland and at Penn National, special weights at Penn National, so maybe he wakes up just a tick, but after 11 starts, you kind of are what you are, and I don't see any marked improvement coming.
Well, I went to number 3 and 2, who you have in 3rd, and that's 11 Paradise, is going to race with the blinkers off this afternoon, looking to recapture that form he displayed, finishing 2nd at this level and distance back in January. Peter Walden having a really good start to the championship meet. Claimed him last time out, and he's 30% with the blinkers off. That sort of jumped off the page at me.
Yeah, it's a good stat, right? That's 6 for 20 for Peter, and as you mentioned, he's had a good start to the meet, and he's 16% off the claim. So, maybe Love in Paradise moves forward. If he can get back to the race when he was 2nd, 2 back, he's a big player in here, but I don't really know what happened last time, but he was pretty dreadful. The blinkers now come off. Maybe that's what it does. We'll see what happens.
Handicapping 101, when you look at the number 6 Ghost Fighter, who wheels back as a major player after vying for lead and finishing 3rd at this level and distance for Susan Ditter. You got Romero Mirage in the saddle. Certainly looks like a logical contender in there, but we both decided to go with the barn that's been just en fuego, and that is Fausto Gutierrez, of course, the trainer of Latruska. Second race, we're going right to the turf this afternoon. Turf is firm, as Brian mentioned. Had a little rain yesterday. We'll see if there's any cut in the form, but it needed the rain. I think it's going to be true and firm this afternoon. Second race, 1 mile on the turf. Claim is 3 and up. 3-year-olds or 4 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, 35 down to 25. 7 in the field this afternoon. I'll start it off with my top pick, and that's the 6 Tetragrammaton, who's turning back to the mile. Set the pace. Weak and late to finish third against Similar, going a mile in the 16 for Kelly Brain. Paco Lopez trying to use that gelding speed on the course that's certainly been favoring front-running types.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of faded Tetragrammaton a little bit. That was my play last time, and I was, to be honest, a little disappointed that he gave it up readily. But with Paco aboard now, it's a send mission. He's probably controlling again unless my Sea Cottage goes hard from his inside with Junior aboard. But, yeah, you know, lightly raced, has only run twice on turf, so he is a definite player in here.
The number 7 horse who we have on top, Tool Farris, the British bred, was competitive on the turf here against Similar last summer. He's eligible or for more today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's going to be second off the layoff here, second now in the barn. And, Cam Gambalotti's got to know him a little bit, and I think he'd be a little closer today. I hope he is at least, because we don't want to drop, as Ronnie alluded to, too far out the back. You want to be close on this turf course. But, yeah, I agree, Ronnie. His best races are just a lot better than these. We'll see if he can get back to it. But I thought the comeback was promising enough.
And you mentioned the number 3, My Cottage, Sea Cottage, the Irish bred. This one, trained by Mark Cassie, will try and save more for the stretch drive today. Responded to that drop down in competition with that set to pace third at this level and distance. Junior's going to be in the saddle today, Junior Alvarado. And I think that's going to set up a pace duel between the 6 and the 3 this afternoon. Maybe sets up for a horse coming off the pace.
Yeah, it's possible. It'll be interesting to see how hard they go early. But I thought this horse rebounded last time, as you mentioned, Ron, on the drop. So I kind of tried to bookend this field. I've got a stalker closer until Forest. I've got my Sea Cottage as well.
And what about Performing Arts, who you have in a third this afternoon? This one from the Bobby de Bonabon. Didn't do much running last time out. First off the claim today.
Yeah, Bobby's going to take the blinkers off. You look at that run 2 back for Brian Lynch. It was against so much better. We know how much Midday Image loves this local turf course. Microphone is a nice prospect as well for Chad Brown. And then something just didn't work out last time. We'll see what we get from Performing Arts. I wanted to put him a little further down in my mix because I'm not really sure which way his form is going.
Let's flip the page, go to race number 3 this afternoon. And race number 3 is a 1-mile maiden special weight for 3-year-olds and upward. And you mentioned that Mr. Todd Pletcher has a couple of horses in this race. And let's start it off with the 3 Hidden Plan, who's 2-1 favorite in here. Morning line favorite, half-brother to a stakes-winning Maryland bred. If you spend any time in Maryland, you know about Codemaker. Stretching out to the 1-turn mile after getting parked 4 wide when finishing 5th behind a pair of next out winners. That included that horse called Creative Minister, who won a competitive main race at Keeneland in its next start. So coming off the thing, this is also a Maryland bred, and I saw Codemaker. Remember that horse from Maryland winning a whole bunch of stakes. I think won about $900,000.
Yeah, exactly. We got a trainer staff for both of the Pletchers in here because he's got the 3 Hidden Plan. He's got the 5 Days of Yore, and these are big stats here. 8 for 25, 40% with a huge 274 ROI. Maiden special weight 3-year-old sprinter out, second-time starters at Gulfstream Park. So there you go there, 8 for 25. Both of these horses, Hidden Plan in the 5 Days of Yore, fit that profile after 7 furlong debuts. Now, Ronnie, with that being said, oh boy, I don't know how much running that either of them did in their first start. And 7-1 and 11-1. So I'm sure you're going to take a much underlaid price today. You mentioned Creative Minister out of that race. That was the Kenny McPeak steam horse that ran really, really well. And you're right. He went up to Keeneland, won a 2-turn race. So it's a good race Hidden Plan comes out of.
And you mentioned Days of Yore. Just by coincidence, Hidden Plan is a Maryland bred of Street Sense, and Days of Yore is also a Street Sense, but not a Maryland bred. And, had some trouble last time. Broke Inwood at the start, then went up and duel, came up empty with Paco Lopez is going to ride today. So it looks like they want to drill some speed in here. But you did go with the number 4, who I have a little further down, and that's King of Chaos. And this one from Michelle Hemingway's one. Didn't start many horses here.
No, and he comes out of a good race up at Tampa. He was 48-1 that day. I understand that. He's going to bring his jockey down, which I like. Fenwick ran off that day, and Command Performance is the Pletcher horse. He's still a maiden, okay? But he had run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He had run well in that race. So it's a productive, competitive heat. And I just think the fact that King of Chaos is here, I think that's a positive. And I just feel like, as much respect as you have to have for the 2 Pletchers, I thought on debut they weren't really at the top of the level of typically you're going to get from the barn. It was a good spot to try to beat him because you're going to get a better price on King of Chaos as well.
The number 6 Strasbourg is the son of Union Regs, debuting for Jorge Delgado. He's solid with his first-time starters, 28%. He's got a go-to rider, Chantel Sutherland. He's been winning a couple of races lately, will be. And so if you want a first-time starter, maybe you go with the horse that's going to break from the outside.
Yeah, Chantel's won 3 days in a row, I believe, and like you mentioned, took down that Rainbow yesterday. And they've paired to have, a really nice first-time starter already win at the Royal Palm meet. So take note of Strasbourg. Watch the board, too. Take note of the board here as well and see if he's live.
Well, let's take a short break, and we'll check out the board when we come back, and also my Rainbow Six ticket.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground off first inside. Race. Of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian's over there. I'm over here.
You're on the
Your
set.
left, my right, on the set here, back for when you're looking one way, we're the other way, actually. Fourth race is about 5 on the Tapeta Maiden, claiming fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. No scratches. Starts the Rainbow Six. If you're just joining us, they hit the Rainbow Six yesterday. Really nice job. Whoever got that one for $182,000. So let's take a look at my ticket this afternoon, and it is $38.40. And I went, I added the 7 afterwards. I saw everybody was picking Laniakea Storm, so I went back and looked. So I went with the 4, 5, 6, and 7 in here. I added that horse. We'll talk about that race in a moment. Race number 5, I went with Tune In, but I used Luddington there. I know Tune In's going to be the international single, but this is where you try and beat a horse like that with Junior Alvarado for a bond that's good with first off claims. That's Luddington. In race number 6 this afternoon, 3 deep in there with the 3, 7, and 8. My top pick is going to be the number 8, Sensational. In race number 7, Con on the Run. Got a video of that horse running very well at Santa Anita. We'll show that a little later on. In race number 8, I Tie One On and Chasm. And then we got in the last race, I think the race goes between B by the C, the 4, and the 6, Loyal Louis. It's always good to be loyal if your name is Louis.
38.40. I think that's the breaking story of the day, not the playbook of 43.20.
No, if I didn't add that other horse, it would have been 28.80. Because 50,000 today, so I figure I'll try and narrow it down instead of going with the normal 43.20. About 5 on the Tapeta, Maiden claiming fillies mastery and up 25,000. No scratches, jockey changes in here. We both have the number 6, 7, Sensational Grace, who's stepping up to the 25 level again, but showed marked improvement. Let's go back and show you that marked improvement. I'm going to pick it up from about the 316 pole. When she finishes, I thought she ran very well. Yes, she is Sensational Grace. You'll see her. She is the number 5 that day, and I thought she ran very well. Now, she's dueling in the stretch, and you can see Let's Run 2 is the 7-5 favorite in there. So I just thought this was a really hard fought performance, and hangs right in until the end. And, of course, one of these horses flying on the outside that reaped the spoils comes up and finishes second. But I thought this horse ran well today.
I'm with you. And, the perfect post here, too, for Jaramillo aboard. And we've talked, nonstop how good David is on the Tapeta. And we can show that stat now, too. And it's just a general, across-the-board stat that we've got here. But there it is. 14 of 56 with a huge 242 on the Tapeta at Gulfstream. I put the past year, it's really, as you said yesterday, past about 8 months or so. But, you know, David, from the word go, David was on top of this, and he's continued keeping on with his Tapeta runners.
Yeah, and I remember talking about when the meet was just starting, and he said, I don't know how my horses are going to run on a Tapeta, and I think he won the first 4 races on it, so he's doing very well. I went with the 5. I'll touch on that in a second. That's Cupid Austin, who's dropping into the maiden claiming ranks, cutting back to 5 furlongs after posting the last best race buyer figure of a 56 when finishing 6th, but it was a productive group of maiden special 8 runners going 5.5 furlongs on the all-weather surface. There is no such animals like this in that today.
No, and the winner that day, Republic, was the firster for Safi. That's a half to the Preakness winner, Rombauer. So obviously that's a live race. You said it. There's no one like that in here. The drop is going to play. And the other thing, too, for Cupid Austin that's in her favor is the majority of this field wants to go early. So she could get the right kind of setup to be running on late.
You know, I don't usually do this with my Rainbow Six tickets, but as I mentioned at the top with the Laniakea Storm, saw it, everybody picked it, so I went back and took a second look and didn't want to get knocked out in the first leg, so I added this horse to my ticket, and I see you have it in second.
I do, and I don't know what to make of her, to be quite honest with you. Jose's going to cut her back. He's going to add Lasix. She's been tiring a little bit, but I thought she ran very, very well last time. It's a good thing that he bumps her up to a quarter. Now, with that being said, for the first time, I think in quite some time, barn is a little cold at the meet. We haven't ever said that about Jose D'Angelo. So the runners are a little cold, and his 2 winners were actually long shots. So, you know, it's kind of a food for thought angle. It's not that the horses aren't running well. They're just not winning, and you're going to take an underlaid price on a horse now. You know, he's asking her to do something she's never done before. That's Sprint on the Tapeta.
Yeah, Sprint on the Tapeta, and you mentioned the 16 to 25. It's sort of a lateral move because Sensational Grace comes out of a 16, a race too. What about the 4 Awesome Birdies dropping and debuting on the Tapeta today after vying for lead, faded to finish 4th? That was her $35,000 debut, going 7 on the main track for Jose Pinchin. Miguel Vasquez, as you mentioned a couple of times, you know, right around 1,000 victories. Boy, he's been riding great form.
Yeah, 993, I believe, for Miguel. So we'll keep an eye on that. He's getting close. It won't take long. I didn't think she ran that badly on debut, Ronnie. She got caught up in a hot pace and got fried because of it. But it was a good race for the level. It was a better race. Blustery's all right. So, you know, if she's not impossible in here, and you're going to get a square price, too.
You know, we're going to race number 5 this afternoon, where Brian's late pick 5 ticket's going to be. It's a 1-mile starter allowance, 4-year-olds and up, starter for 20 or less. We did have a couple of scratches in here of the 1 and 2, and I think that makes the number 7 tune all that much better. Boy, this horse always runs well and working up a storm.
Yeah, you weren't getting 2 to 1 anyway, and now you're going to probably get about 1 to 2 because of the scratches, and he's perfectly drawn. So he's the single. We'll get to that in a second. I lost with a late scratch, by the way, of race in race number 6 of the 2 winning at ease in the 5 Pearl in the Rough. Maybe it's just late for you and I, Ronnie. So we adjusted that a little bit, and I scratch into number 7, Mongolian Mission. The single is in race 7 with Khan on the run. Jeff Mullins, we've got a stat for him coming up, and a 4x4 late double. My long shot today is the 5, J.P. Hellish. I love that name, by the way. And then in the finale, I'll go to the outside with the 10. It could have been another long shot. Not allowed to pick 2, though, apparently, Ron, to Vinnie Dream on the outside.
How could you have 2 long shots? There should be just 1 long shot and 1 best bet. That's a story for another time. Mentioned the scratch of the 1 and 2. Tune-in is back home, shipped up to Tampa to show speed and fade. They took a shot in the mile in the 16th grade 3 challenger. This is a 6-time local winner, cuts back to his best distance. This is his game. 8 starts, 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, our guy in the office, Eddie Gray, talked to Diane yesterday, and he said, you know, we took a shot. Didn't work out up at Churchill with some good horses, and then, you know, last time at Tampa, obviously, as well. But you said it. He's back with his friends today. He's drawn perfectly. He loves this elongated 1-turn mile. 5 for 8 at the trip. 6 for 10 on our main track here. Tune in is going to take all the beating on a very, very short price.
The number 3, Ludington, moves to the Gustavo Delgado barn after the claimant and renews the rivalry with Tune-In. After a pair of chase and fade outings going a mile in the slop, the barn is solid with new claims, has Junior Alvarado handling what they hope will be a fast track, and that's certainly what we got today. I'm going to put a couple of lines through those wet track. I think this horse, if things work out perfectly, I would like it to be more horses in the field. I just didn't want to get beat with Tune-In, so I threw this one on the ticket. But I can understand singling here without a doubt.
Well, you said it, though. Draw a line through the 2 sloppy races, last time in 2 back. Draw a line through the Claiming Crown Jewel race at 9 furlongs and 2 turns. And then just look at his last 2 races right here at the 1-turn mile. And it was a very, very good second 3 back, and he was in the ballpark of tune-in 5 back. So this is his thing as well. And I agree. I think he's probably the main danger here, especially now that the scratches took a little starch out of the race.
And you did go with the number 6 horse, Mr. Tito's, Paco Lopez, Jose Garofalo.
Yeah, I initially liked him a little better because there was a lot of speed in this race, and now I don't think he's going to get the splits. But, he just keeps on keeping on himself. And on his day, he's okay. He's he's comfortably behind tune-in. But I thought, what, maybe some of these horses are going to take a run at tune-in early. Maybe that will help Mr. Tito's late.
Well, let's go to race number 6 this afternoon. And this one is about 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Claimers fillies, 3-year-old of fillies, 4 and up. Non-winners of 2, 12, 5 down to 10. Scratch the 1, 2, 5, and the number 10. And as Brian mentioned, I've got a couple of late scratches for us. My long shot of the day was the number 5, Pearl in the Rough. This one from Rashawn Creaky. I think this horse is entered to run either tomorrow or Sunday. So we'll see that horse. And I think it's tomorrow on Saturday. And I bumped up to the number 8, Sensational. Has its claiming tag sliced in half after pressing the pace, tiring against those non-winners of 2 lifetime runners, going 7.5. It's Carlos David. It's Sammy Camacho Jr. Handling the class relief. And that's where I went. You got my Mongolian Mission, who I think's got a big shot too.
Yeah, and I had Winning at Ease on top of here. So we were both, coming up with long shots because I think we both didn't really trust anyone in here. And so, yeah, I scratched into Sensational. I scratched into Mongolian Mission, excuse me. And, the overall body of work is probably best here. But again, she's kind of tough to trust. She's dropping from 35 to 12.5. I mean, that's kind of the old tread very, very lightly type of angle. And we'll see what we get out of her today. Paco gets aboard. That's solid. But, I think we both agree that it's a race that you're allowed to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to single tune in like the late pick 5 or even in the Rainbow 6, maybe go a little deeper in here because we were both looking, as you mentioned, trying to go different ways in here. Race number 7, 6 furlongs. These are starter optional claimers, 3-year-olds started for 35 or less, or the optional tag of 35. We had a couple of scratches in here of the 1 and the number 2 horse in here. And Brian had Con on the Run as one of his singers. Going to go back and show you this. First, we're going to show you the head on the start. This horse just stumbles very slightly in here. I just wanted to point it out so you see the full thing. Just gets that little bit of a stumble. But, boy, this horse was impressive in its race. We're going to pick it up just in the stretch and, runs well. Was the 7-5 favorite that day, so you can understand, how well he ran. I wanted to show that little bobble. And they're going to take the weight here. They're going to go with the apprentice, Franklin Calais.
Yeah, and I like this horse, too. And when we wrap up here, let's show a trainer shot on Jeff, too. And it's just kind of getting you familiar with this barn that does so well. So here it is here. This is claiming sprints in the last 5 years, 17 for 67, 25% with a $1.72 ROI. And again, this is a barn you're going to see now here at Gulfstream Park over the summer that's done very, very well in Southern California over 2 decades now, so it's a sharp barn that brought a group of horses here for the summer, and we're happy to have them. And I think Con on the Run has got him in a good spot to pick one up today.
Yeah, also notice tomorrow's card Saturday, he actually claimed the horse here, so it looks like he's getting his, it's settled here in South Florida, and Jeff does a great job. The number 3, we went together here with Paco's Pico, swinging back after following that $50,000 maiden optional claiming victory with a well-meant second-place finish at this level and distance. Rohan Crichton continues to win races in bunches. Miguel Vasquez atop this gelded son of Candy Ride.
Yeah, and this is clearly the main danger, but you look at Con on the Run, and Con on the Run's got the consistent form, whereas Paco's Pico really, really moved forward in a huge way last time, and you wonder if maybe regression comes a little bit. And I think the other benefit, too, is Con on the Run outside of Paco's Pico, which could put him in a little bit of a precarious situation.
The number 4, Hey Porter, faced these 35 starter optional claimers after responding in that first race after the claim by Peter Walder, stalked the pace third, but that was behind odds-on stakes place Clapton. That was that state bred allowance going 7 furlongs, so it was flatted. I like to turn back a little bit today, and I think this horse could be right there for part of the action.
Yeah, agree. And if Con on the Run and Pacos Pico hook up early and they pay the price late, Hay Porter's one of the ones in here that's going to rally on late. It's Peter Walder again, as you mentioned, and we've got Evan Gonzalez here too.
Let's go to race number 8 this afternoon. This is a great betting race here, and it's going to be 5 furlongs on the turf. Claimers, 3-year-olds of 4 and up, non-winners of 3, or race since October 29th. So triple conditions here for race number 8. We did have a scratch of the number 4 phase out. Jockey change on the number 7. Make that rider Jose Morelos. I'll start it off in here with My Taiwan, who goes to the Mike Baker barn after returning from a 9-month layoff. I'm going to show you this horse as the last race, finishes 4th, but I'm going to pick it up from the turn for home with My Taiwan. I'm going to see, typical in these turf races, just trying to find a spot to run. I like the way this horse moved between horses to make him, make his presence felt, and I thought he ran okay, and I'm talking, it's a 5-time local turf winner. Certainly needed this race. Coming off the bench. So I went back to this horse. I remembered him, of course, from running here all the time. I just thought it was a good performance. Sort of had to find that place to go and maybe move forward this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's the right time to claim him, and I think that's what Mike did a good job of, because as you alluded to, he's going to move forward second off the layoff, so this was a good claim, and I think there's only one way for this horse to go. You mentioned the 5 for 13 record here. That was a comeback that you can build on, as you just saw. So, yeah, clearly the horse to beat. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The winner, by the way, that day was Ghostliner. It was pretty nice for Marcassi, too.
Yeah, Ghostliner, definitely a good horse. So now you went with Frank Russo, has 2 horses in here, and you went with your long shot, the number 5, J.P. Ellish.
Yeah, J.P. Hellish, who cuts back. And let's take a trainer stat here from Frank. He had Belgrano yesterday. And here's the turf sprints the past 2 years, 33%, 446 ROI. And, J.P. Hellish on figures is running pretty much right with My Taiwan. Now, if My Taiwan, moves forward again, J.P. Hellish is going to have to get him. But the price is going to be right. He's going to get some weight with the apprentice Elsa Morrison named here. There's plenty of speed to set him up. And I like the foundation he's got coming out of those 2-turn races. So, he might get run off his feet a little bit, but he's not going to be too off of it, I think. And I think that's beneficial as well. And again, the price is going to play here on a horse that, has been coming out of better races.
Well, if you like that stat, this one figures here, too, for Frank Russo with a crack shot, who's listed as a gelding today, returns to the turf after following that well-meant third against 40-starter allowance runners. That's going 5 on the grass with a stalk and tire outing going 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. Frank Russo, we mentioned here twice, has Jose Morelos handling the surface switch today. So crack shot sitting up there at the 8-1. He looks awful lot like other horses in this race.
Yeah, without a doubt. So obviously the stat plays there, too. We get a first-time gelding angle as well. He's got to win on the turf here, too. And I think he's one of the ones that, should be involved early. It'll be interesting what Jaramillo does with My Taiwan because he's shown speed in the past. He probably doesn't want to come from 6 like he had to last time with Javier Castellano aboard, the Hall of Famer.
And the number 2, Kazuma, I believe, second choice on the morning line, is returning to his best surface, failing to reel in that productive duo of both unprecedented and reconfigure. A consecutive 25,000 starter allowance sprints going 5 on the Tapeta. Probably was glad he didn't see those both horses in this race. Carlos David, Paco Lopez is now atop the new gelded son of Munnings.
Unprecedented is an absolute freak over this Tapeta. He goes 21-2 and he just doesn't stop. So you said it perfectly. Getting out of his shadow, he probably won't complain. Looking left or right in the starting gate, not seeing unprecedented.
Yeah, so an interesting. That's a great betting race here. Final race on the card. We're going to go about 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. These are claimers 3-year-olds of 4 and up, non-winners of 3 in life, and we did have no scratches in the final race, so that's good. And we'll have a field of 10 to go postward. And you got the number 10 right on top of your ticket.
Vinny Dream to the outside, and you gotta dig a little bit, but look at his Tapeta races earlier on with Armando de la Cerda. They were okay efforts. The point being they were in very, very fast races. 60, 64 buyer. That's not putting him too far behind anyone in here. Here's Miguel Vasquez again. We've mentioned him coming up on 1,000 wins. He does very, very well riding for Jose Garofalo as well. And I was just looking for value in a race that, to me, Ronnie, looks wide open.
Well, 12-1 in the morning line, so very good in there. The number 4 horse in here, Be By the Sea, second under to Peter at this level and distance. That was 2 starts back. Returns the all-weather today after bumping at the start and really never getting involved when finishing, 12th and last against those 20 state-bred optional claimers going 5 on the turf from Mark Paisley, Paco Lopez in the saddle.
Big run 2 back, and I think that stamps him as the horse to beat. And I would think Paco, you're not going to see this horse 8th or 11th like he's been in his last couple. Paco put him in the game early, and that's second 2 back, like I said. Now, that was for Mike Deeney, so we'll see what we get today. The new barn, and he didn't do a lot of running on the turf last time, but a huge price last time. He's back with his friends today. I
got to show you the number 6, and then we'll talk about that stat you have on the number 2, Sassy But Smart. But this is Royal War's last run. I just had to go back and show Royal War. That's right, Loyal. There it is on the outside. Just takes the overland route, and I just thought it was a good performance from Mirat Sankal. This horse just keeps grinding through the stretch and gets up to win it. 7-2 on the board is the number 5 that afternoon. And he just was relentless through the stretch. And, he had to go wide to get there. And he just was a good performance. And, so he's going back. He's going to the Muhammad Mubarak barn after the claim. Finished 4th. Chantal's going to jump aboard. Maybe this one will run. Murat's going to have Lionel Reyes in the saddle. Lionel took that fell yesterday fall. He's doing very well today.
Yeah, this horse rises in class, but you saw it there. He ran very, very well. He's going to have to step up his game. But, Murat got him to win off the claim. That's a positive, and he seems to be moving in the right direction. You're going to get a price, too.
Now, would you have to stand on Sassy But Smart, I believe?
Yeah, I did. If you're just kind of thinking outside the box a little bit, and here's because this horse didn't do any running last time, but here's a good stat. Peter Wald, they're 5 for 13, 38, 287. Sprints, blinkers off the past couple years. It's a little troublesome. He didn't fire last time on the dirt, but he's got huge 2-turn turf races with huge figures for this group. We'll see what we get today.
Less than 9 race card. We're going to quickly go to our lightning round this afternoon before we turn it over to Mr. Pete Aiello. And boy, the Kentucky Derby just down the road, and Simplification out there again, stretching his legs.
And this was it for Simplification. All systems go now. And this is on a muddy track, and we kind of alluded to it again. Good, well done to the grounds crew. But here he is here. I overheard Antonio talking to Ed in the office, and he was just raving about this work. Look at this horse gallop out and streak home. Let's get on to Louisville. Let's get it done.
Yeah, 6 furlongs in 112.80, 138.60. But there's the, just keeps going on, and it's a perfect setup for what he'll be doing. I think he's leaving today, I heard them say.
Yeah, and Antonio, I think he said he's leaving Sunday. And listen, I'm not trying to be a homer here. Don't sleep on this horse. I don't know where he's going to finish in the Kentucky Derby. He's going to outrun his odds.
Well, we have a couple of nice horses running here tomorrow and Stars on Saturday.
Yeah, it's cool to see both Catton, but here's King Cab winning. This was in February. This was an absolutely devastating performance. And then he went up to Tampa to win a stakes, and he's back doing the one-turn thing. And it's Eddie Palisa Jr. who's having a white-hot Royal Palm meet after having a huge championship meet. This horse is freakishly fast, a gelded son of Noble Bird.
Yeah, Catton's had its up and downs, but that's a pretty nice horse when all things are said. And, as we mentioned, the first leg of the Triple Crown just down the road. And First Bet has an absolutely great free Kentucky Derby wagering guide, picks and strategies from the experts. I'm on there. I don't know where they got the word expert, but I'll be giving my selections on there. It's it's absolutely free. You just got to go to First Bet and download it on their app.
Very cool. Free as well. You can't beat that. And some great insight and your selection.
My selection, but they do a great job. They have little things about every horse in the field. It's really done. They do a great job putting that together. My selection, Charge It. We're going to see how it's run. I think working today.
Yeah, he's got one more too. He's already up in Louisville for Todd Pletcher, and so we'll see. He ran huge in the big second in the Curlin Florida Derby.
Hey, our sister track out there in Northern California's got a big weekend. This is their big weekend.
Yeah. Their graded stakes, the San Francisco Mile, 6 stakes all told tomorrow, that grade 3 feature. And check out the field, too, because it's one of those races where you look at the field and you're like, the favorite might be 4-1. It's a great card out there, so cool to see them putting on a huge product.
Yeah, my man Matt Dinnerman will be calling the races out there, and so we'll see how that runs. That happens this weekend. And, yeah, always a good race, and that turf course is really nice out there in Northern California, Golden Gate Fields. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Up to Pete, and then we'll be back here shortly for the opener.
Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance is really the vehicle for the transition for our racehorses coming off the track into a second career and safe environment for these horses when they're done racing. I've been passionate about racehorses my whole life, animals in general, and without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses. I'm excited about the undertaking and excited about working with our board and our team at the TAA to continue the wonderful progress that has been made. So I'm very excited about what the future holds.